Hello everyone, I'm Day-Glo Buffalo, and today we're playing Leather Goddesses of Phobos. Now you're probably going to ask yourself, what is Leather Goddesses of Phobos? Well, as you might already notice from the screen, it's a text adventure. So why am I playing a text adventure? I'm not sure. I love the game. And I looked around a bit on YouTube, and there don't seem to be a whole lot of playthroughs of this game, certainly none with commentary that I've found, so it might be something different. So anyway, this game is made by Infocom, one of the premier text adventure developers of the 80s. I remember playing it on my Commodore 64 way back when. And it was made in 1986, if I'm not entirely mistaken. So, well, since it is a text adventure, there's not a whole lot to look at the screen, but there's going to be a whole lot of reading from me. So, well, I guess you're just going to have to sit down and get settled in for that, because for the people who have seen my Maniac Mansion playthrough, I'm not much of an actor. I'm even worse of a reader. So, well, bear with me. Well, there's really not much else to say, so let's just get started. So we start off with a warning. Some material in this story may not be suitable for children, especially the parts involving sex, which no one should know anything about until reaching the age of 18, 21 in certain states. This story is also unsuitable for censors, members of the moral majority, and anyone else who thinks that sex is dirty rather than fun. The attitudes expressed and language used in the story are representative only of the views of the author and in no way representative of the views of Infocom Incorporated or its employees, many of whom are children, censors, and members of the moral majority, but very few of whom, based on last year's Christmas party, think that sex is dirty. By now, all the folks who might be offended by Leather Goddesses of Phobos have whipped their disc out of their drive, and evidence in hand are indignantly huffing towards their dealer, their lawyer, or their favorite regression-oriented politico. So, hit the return enter key to begin. Well, you already see the anachronism here. I have no disk to whip out because it's on my hard drive, but anyway, I could dismount my hard drive and take it to my dealer or lawyer, but why would I do that? I love this game. So, let's hit enter and move on. Blah, 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 we already saw that, so more. We want more. Joe's Bar, the place, Upper Sandusky, Ohio, the time 1936. The beer at a nickel a mug. You don't need to ask for brand names. All you know is that your fifth one tasted as bad as the first. So, Leather Goddesses of Phobos, Infocom Interactive Fiction, a racy space-age spoof, copyright 1986, blah, blah, blah. So, moving on with the interesting part, Joe's Bar. An undistinguished bar, yet the social center of Upper Sandusky. The front door is almost lost amidst the hazy maze of neon that shrouds the grimy glass of the south wall. Doors marked Ladies and Gents lead respectively northeast and northwest. You feel an urge. So one thing that's interesting about this game, we are immediately presented with a choice. Going northeast or northwest, or the ladies or the gents. This will in some way influence the game. If you go into the ladies, you're going to play the game as a girl. If you go into the gents, you're going to play the game as a guy. And some of the characters change, some of the situations change, but that's about it. Basically, most of your encounters will be with characters of the opposite sex to whatever one you choose. So it doesn't really change the game itself. It just changes basically a couple of words in the text. So let's move and go northwest into the Gents Room. This filthy bathroom belies the existence of disinfectant. A single toilet and sink are the only fixtures. More breathable air can be found to the southeast. You can see a bar stool here. Or actually just a stool, not a bar stool. So, why not take... Oh man, my microphone is blocking my view of the keyboard, so I'm typing blind a bit. At least on the left side of my keyboard. So why do I keep writing bar stool? It's not a bar stool, it's a simple stool. And hopefully it's not that kind of stool, if you catch my drift. Taken. You trace the urge to the region of your bladder. So apparently we need to pee really badly. Let's examine the stool first, just to make sure it's not that kind of stool. You can see nothing on the stool. Okay. Well, that doesn't help me very much. Though operating at far below normal speed, your mind begins to conclude that it would be best at this point to use the bathroom. So, well, let's do that. Use toilet. Now that the crisis has passed, you noticed a strong and familiar odor pervading the room. So, well, let's smell the odor. Scratch and sniff spot number 1. Hit return to continue. So the interesting part about this game is that inside the game box, there was actually a scratch and sniff card, if I remember correctly. There were 7 or 8 spots on the card that were numbered, and that you had to scratch and sniff at appropriate moments in the game. So this would be the appropriate moment for the first scratch and sniff. And, well, fortunately, I don't have the card on me, but I'd pretty much be dreading whatever smells they could come up with at this point, because you're standing in a toilet after all, and apparently a very grimy toilet. So let's move on with a lot of dread. You trace the smell to a dubious slice of pizza crumpled in the corner. Incidentally, we had some pretty putrid scents available, all of which would have seemed right at home in a filthy restroom. In the end, we were too kind to use them, but we were sorely tempted. Well, I'm actually very happy that we're too kind to use them. So anyway, well, we're still in the bathroom, and let's move back to the bar and order a beer. Bartender says, "You've had enough." Well, that doesn't help me, so let's go check out, it's northeast, the ladies' room. A brilliant skip past them. Ladies' room. As you enter the wrong bathroom, a female patron begins pummeling you with a purse that must surely contain concrete. You hustle out. Joe's bar. A brilliant flash of green light seems less unusual when followed by the appearance of tentacled aliens. As is the case with the current flash of green light, the tentacles wrap roughly around you as you faint. After an unknown amount of time, well, let's cut the crap. 7.3 hours later, you wake. Your head feels as if it's been run over by several locomotives, or at least one very large locomotive, and your clothes are now unrecognizable. Cell. You are in a large cell with a soft, cushiony floor. A wide door, closed naturally, forms the southern wall of the cell. Hanging on the wall is a painting of a pussycat. You can see a flashlight, a stool, and a blanket here. Someone thrusts a tray into your cell. A hunk of brown food on the tray looks unappetizing, but smells deliciously familiar. Okay, so we ended up in a cell, abducted by an alien. That's how all good stories begin. So, well, we've already gotten the description of the cell, so for now let's take all we have available. The tray, the flashlight, the stool, the painting, and the blanket. And let's get examining. Examine tray. You can see a hunk of brown food. Examine food. The hunk of brown food looks unappetizing, but smells deliciously familiar. We had already seen that. So let's smell the food. And I feel a scratch and sniff coming on. Scratch and sniff spot number 2. Hit the return button to continue. Luscious, creamy milk chocolate. That's good. So let's take the chocolate. And we can actually drop the tray because it's of no use to anybody, if I remember correctly. Then we've got a flashlight. We've already seen the stool. Flashlight, it's off. Examine. Blanket. There's nothing there's nothing eye-catching about the blanket. I was about to say eye-catching, and I'm not sure why. And examine finally the painting. It's a good likeness of a pussy, but is it art? Bit of a double entendre there. Anyway, so there's nothing else for us to do in this cell, so how do we get out? You'll have to open the white cell door first. Well, it's a cell door, so we'd probably have to unlock it first, but the white cell door swings open. Apparently, they're not much for locks here. So let's move south into end of hallway. A white cell door lies open to the north, and a narrow cell door lies close to the south. The hallway ends at a gleaming metal door to the west and continues east. Something, possibly this very sentence, tells you that it would be dangerous to travel east or west. A sign is posted next to the stairs, which lead both upwards and downwards. So just read the sign. Up to observation room. Very well. What are we going to observe? Is a really big question. But since we're here, why not open the narrow door? Narrow cell door swings open. Well, they really don't much care for locks here. As you enter, a man sitting limply in the shadow stiffens and rises to his feet. A human! They got you too! I've been here a week. When you opened the door, I figured it was a guard. Was it unlocked? I never thought of trying it. By the way, my name's Trent, from Alaska. I'm not too bright, but I'm strong as an ox, and I'm great with my hands. Maybe we can lick these leather goddesses together. Another double entendre. I think we're going to have a lot of those in this game. So, other cell. You're in a very tiny room with a rock-hard floor. A narrow cell door to the north is open. A crumpled paper lies discarded in the corner. There seems to be some writing on it. Trent is here, alertly surveying your surroundings. So, we made a friend. Trent from Alaska. Well, let's take the paper and read the paper. There's a seemingly meaningless matrix of letters on the paper. Well, it's not. It's seemingly meaningless because it's actually a hint for the solution for the final solution of a game. It's basically a list of objects that we have to find, and it's all hidden in the matrix here. The thing is that in a very short while we're going to actually get a written list of the things we need, so why bother with this puzzle if we can just read the other list? So let's wait for that one to come around. So let's go back north. End of hallway. Let's go down. Basement. This is a moist cellar. Soft light trickles down the stairway. Trent trails along. Nothing much interesting here, so we're back in the hallway. Let's go up. Observation room. Calvin Coolidge once described windows as rectangles of glass. That's some deep insight there. If so, he may have been thinking about the window which fills the western wall of this room. A tiny closet lies to the north. A sign is posted next to the stairs, which lead both upwards and downwards. Trent enters just a few steps behind you. So let's read the sign. Down to cells. Let's check out the window since we're here. You discover that the window makes a pleasant boing noise when a human nose is pushed into it at approximately walking speed. Well, at least we didn't hurt ourselves. So, well, let's go upwards. Roof. Your view extends to the horizon, which on tiny Phobos usually means a few hundred feet. Thrusting up into the sight beyond the horizon are the arching towers and curving domes of the notorious pleasure palace of the leather goddesses of Phobos. On a wide plain between here and the palace, powerful warships are poised for the imminent invasion of Earth. Mars dominates the view, a dull red orb spanning a quarter of the sky. Bright blue canals lace the surface, and white caps of ice are visible at both poles. A stairway leads down into the building. Near the edge, seemingly painted onto the roof, is a black circle. you might be able to jump to the ground, but frankly, we advise against it. Trent follows you. Yeah, jumping down to the ground is not a very good idea because you end up with a pretty severe case of dead. But anyway, let's end this first video here. And, well, I'll thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, I don't know, leave a like, a comment, or anything. And I will see you in the next video. So until then, have a good one.